are joining in a little bit later. So welcome to everyone that is here. This is a rare and special opportunity for us to practice seriously and listen deeply to the teachings of Sayadaw Ashin Ottamathara, who is a true meditation master and is my teacher. Myself, and a group of about 50 monks and nuns have been staying in Hanoi, Vietnam as guests of the Vietnamese government for a 3-month rains retreat period. And we are in just about the last week, the last 10 days before that rains retreat finishes. In the morning and the afternoon and the evening, Sayadaw Ashin is giving the direct teachings and guided meditations to the group, not just monks and nuns, but also lay people, full-time meditators, supporters of the Buddhist community in Vietnam, also government officials coming and visiting the teacher. Today we will look at together a recorded text or a transcribed text of one of the master's daily talks. And I believe this talk is from 2 days ago. And I picked it because I felt it was very rich in the explanation of Sayadaw's meditation method, and also very workable or applicable for our daily lives. Whoever we are and wherever we are, we can put these practices into practice, and that's really a standard that you should always keep for your spiritual teachings or religion or special ideas about how to live. Is it's got to be actionable. It's got to be practical. It's got to be something that you can put into practice now. If you can't put it into practice now, well, then what good is it? The environment is sure to change. Our physical state is sure to change. Our mental state is sure to change. This is just natural. So we've got to have a foundation of spirituality, or a foundation of approaching life, reality, that is simple, stable, and actionable, regardless of how unstable the physical state is, or the mental state, the internal state, or the external state. We've got to have a actionable way to move forward, moment by moment. And this is really the specialty of Sayadaw Ashin and his teachings, his guidances. So we are really, this is a blessed moment. This is a precious moment for us to practice together and listen to deep teachings. So why don't we start by listening to 3 sounds of the bell. And as we hear the sound of the bell, as we hear the ringing, this can invite us to enter the present moment experiencing, and to enter our awareness rather than all those different things that we are aware of. Those thoughts, those stories, those feelings in the body. Bring the mind to just be aware and not lost in any kind of complicatedness. not to be absorbed or pulled into anything, but just aware. In hearing the sound of the bell, just hearing the sound of the bell. Okay? So let's give this a try. You can find your comfortable meditation position, mentally and physically, and listen to the sound of the bell. Okay, so appreciate everyone for making the time to be here. We will get right into the teachings. And I wish that you will listen not just from the intellect, not just from your thinking, but also from your heart, from your breathing, from your seeing, from your hearing. We underestimate the power of listening from our heart. We underestimate the power of just returning to listening, just returning to being aware, rather than getting caught up in any phenomena that arises, mental or physical, visual, just coming back to the awareness, the presence, the natural state of mind. That's the real gift and power of this practice, coming home moment by moment. Okay. If anyone has difficulties following along with the stream, either in the Discord call or anywhere else, you can simply join through the YouTube channel and you will find their stable stream, hopefully. For those who don't know about my teacher, Sayadaw Ashin, he is a meditation master from Myanmar who has been teaching and practicing continuously for more than 20 years now. He is the founder of Thabarwa centers worldwide, which are meditation centers for all, for the sick, for the elderly, for the mentally ill, for the neurodivergent. All peoples are welcome to come and practice, to come and do good deeds, and to change their life, to change their mind through the power of doing good deeds, mindfulness, and all kinds of forms of generosity, giving, sharing. Most meditation centers allow and select very few amount of people to have the opportunity to attend, to participate, to stay on site, or even to join a retreat. They do in a limited way. Sayadaw Ashin Ottamathara is a full-time meditation master, and his centers are full-time meditation centers for all. So this is quite unique in the world. And in Myanmar, which is his home country, there are more than 100 Thabarwa meditation centers. Anyone who is listening to this talk and connecting with me, you certainly have the opportunity to stay at Thabarwa meditation centers to change your life, to change your mind, to do good deeds limitlessly, as much as you can, and then even to do more than you can. So this teaching is both a direct teaching about how to live, how to practice, and it is also an invitation to live and to practice, not only for oneself, but for all. Any questions before we continue? Are we all on the same page? Okay, great. So let's start with the reading. And this is a fresh reading. Sometimes our readings are from ancient Zen masters of 1,000, years ago. But this is a talk from one day ago, given in English, and I hope that it will be clear. As we go through this reading, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand or let me know. Let it be known that you have a question, and you can ask it. We can explore it together, and I will also try to give some extra information or prompts as I feel necessary as we go through the teaching. All right, let's begin. We should try to stop whatever we do. Each of our physical, verbal, and mental action need to be mindful. Whatever we are able to do, we need to stop or abandon or let go. So I'll say that again. We should try to stop whatever we do. Each of our physical, verbal, and mental action need to be mindful. Whatever we are able to do need to stop or abandon or let go. To stop is not to reject. To stop is not to reject. To abandon or let go. So right now, right at this present moment, we should try to stop whatever we do. The great stopping, the great finishing, the great ending. each and every one of our physical, verbal, and mental action need to be mindful. So moment by moment, we are making physical action, verbal action, mental action. For each and every action, need to be mindful. Mindful is to be aware presently. Whatever we are able to do, so whatever potentiality you may be holding in your mind about what you can do, what you could do, etc., onward to infinitum, need to stop, abandon, or let go. Both of our doing or not doing should be doing only or not doing only, without grasping or attaching. This is very fundamental to the teacher's instruction. He is emphasizing this a lot. Whether you are doing something or not doing something is not important. What is important is that what you are doing or what you are not doing should be doing only or not doing only, without grasping or attaching, without extrapolating, without adding extra, without creating a story out of it. In making a mistake only. Without grasping and attaching. Close your eyes gently. Relax your whole body and mind. We are all using our body and mind with the idea of I or someone, mine or something. Now, we should try to use our body and mind with the right understanding or the truth of non-self, not something, not someone, just cause and effect of ever new impermanent nature. This here is the teaching, okay? So all of us, most of the time, all the time, I mean, this is how we operate. We're not enlightened, right? So we are all using our body and mind with the idea of I. My body, my mind, my computer, my room, my possessions. With the idea of I or someone. Mine or something. Actually, here, the self is less important than the separate self-entity, so the objectification of things that are not actually objects. The my is just another form of separate identification. Something, somewhere, some person, someone. this separate self entity. Now, we should try to use our body and mind with the right understanding or the truth of non-self. Not something in particular, not someone in particular, just cause and effect of ever new impermanent nature. This body and mind are only cause and effect, not something, not someone, not a particular person, not a particular place. Only present moment experiencing. Just cause and effect of ever new impermanent nature. We need to be mindful of our body and mind in order to detach from our body and mind. The more we know ever new impermanent nature of our body and mind, the more we can detach from them. So it is our lack of awareness, our lack of presence, our lack of being with, of facing, of directly experiencing the body and mind that allow the appearance of the body and mind as this continuous self-entity to be grasped onto, to be held onto. The more we are mindful, the more we can detach. Because we will see for ourselves that the body is not permanent, it's not fixed, it's always changing. The mind is not permanent, it's not fixed, it's always changing. So we detach more and more and more from this grasping onto the mind or the body as being solid. Rather, it is just cause and effect of ever new impermanent nature. We are always busy with our physical, verbal, and mental action to do what we want and what we used to do until we die. So this is the normal course of our human life, our life of ignorance and attachment, right? We are always busy. We are always consumed with. We are always pulled into our physical, verbal, and mental action to do what we want and what we are used to do until we die. Now, we need to be mindful of each our physical, verbal, and mental action in order to detach from each of our action. So if you can be directly aware of each moment of action, each moment of breathing, then you will not be grasping onto breathing. You will not be grasping onto the action as being a self or a someone. You will be mindful only. So we should try. We need to be mindful. This is what we do in meditation. We need to be mindful of each of our physical, verbal, and mental action in order to detach from each of our action, to let go, to put down, to unaffiliate with each action, mental, physical, or verbal. The more we know about impermanent nature of our action, the more we can detach from whatever we do. So the more clearly we can see the impermanence of our actions, the more we can not be attached, because we will automatically not be attached to something we know that is impermanent and changing. It's like being attached to the water in a particular formation, right? We know that there is no particular formation for water. Water is flow, water is movement, right? So the more that we are mindful, the more that we are aware, the more that we can see clearly each of our action, the more we can detach from that action, that affiliation, that grasping, that fixation related to our action. Whatever we do, we should try to be natural. In order to be doing naturally, we need to detach from doing intentionally and deliberately. Just being, just breathing, just aware, just natural. Natural lowness, natural highness, natural comfort, natural discomfort. Not something special, not something unique, not something put together. We need to detach from doing intentionally and deliberately. Whatever we do, or whatever happens in our body and mind, are ever new impermanent nature. Whatever we do, or whatever happens in our body and mind, are ever new impermanent nature. Not someone, not something, not some story, not some good or bad, not some brave or fearful, not some developing in the right way or developing in the wrong way. Whatever we do, or whatever happen in our body and mind, are ever new impermanent nature. Every expression is an expression of impermanence, changing. We say the nature of a seed is the tree that can grow out of it. But by the time there is a seed, there is already the nature of its cessation. There is already the nature of its ending. A seed, more so than it is the harbinger or the representative of the tree, the seed is the representative of ever new impermanent nature, for sure, right? Whatever we do or whatever happen in our body and mind are ever new impermanent nature. The more we are mindful on each of our action and every happening of our body and mind, the more we can understand ever new impermanent nature. In this way, we can detach more and more from whatever we do or whatever happen in our body and mind. Now, this is real meditation. This is almost like a description or a pointing of real meditation, which is not a contrived attachment to a particular methodology. Whatever methodology we bring to our meditation is to be used only and experienced only, not attached to, not grasped onto, especially not as I am doing this meditation method. That's going to be very confusing and problematic, right? So we free ourselves from mental, physical, and verbal identification through being mindful of our moment by moment mental, physical, verbal actions. More and more mindful, more and more aware. And then when we sit in a certain kind of meditation position, when we come to a gathering like this, when we have a facilitator, a teacher, a monk who is supporting us, that is the essential time to be mindful of each and every mental, physical, and verbal action. So when we are in the situation to have a an experience of a Dhamma talk, a meditation talk, or a Buddhist event, a wisdom event, we can enter into that natural way. Just listening, just breathing, just being aware, just mindful of each and every moment of our action without needing to grasp onto a complicated meditation method or some kind of stages of development. This is all related to the self. This is all related to the I. So we need to emphasize the present moment action of mindfulness, the present moment action of awareness of mental, physical, verbal phenomena. In this way, we can detach more and more from whatever we do or whatever happened in our body and mind. We can become less and less biased scientists, less and less biased explorers, because we are detached, we are aware, we can look closely without identification, without what we want to get out of it, without what we want to avoid through the practice. Just looking, just aware, just the present moment action of mindfulness. Now detachment can happen more and more. Okay, any questions or sharing experience so far? Okay, let's continue. Learning, education, or doing business are not much difficult. Practicing meditation is really difficult to understand and practice. Okay? So, we already have big ideas about learning and education or doing business, making money. We already have an understanding, oh, this is difficult. This is confusing, right? This takes a lot of energy. Well, the truth is that they are not much difficult. Everyone is doing like this. If it was much difficult, everyone could not do like that. Or learning, education, doing business, etc. Not much difficult. It's not that there aren't difficulties in it, but it's not much difficult. Practicing meditation is really difficult to understand and practice. With this right understanding, we should try to practice meditation with its various difficulties. And I think this is such a major barrier for people who are approaching the path of meditation or spirituality. Why are we meditating? Well, we want life to be easier. We want to be more comfortable, want to be more relaxed, right? So if you want to be more comfortable, relaxed, and easy, you're not going to want to meditate. And then people try to find these kind of cracks and crevices and contrived meditation methods and guided meditations and all these things to make their life more relaxed and more calm, but they're not practicing real meditation. And they will not have real success. Now, at the end of the difficulties, there is easiness. At the end of easiness, a kind of calm and peace, there is difficulty. At the end of loss and failure, there is success. At the end of success, there is failure and losses. So the master here is starting to point to or to emphasize the issues in duality, in the identifying with these experiences you're having as being someone, something, positive or negative. These experiences are only ever new impermanent nature. These experiences of success or failure, gain or loss are not someone, not something in particular. So, at the end of the difficulties in meditation, there is easiness or easeness. At the end of easeness, there is difficulty. At the end of loss and failure, there is success. At the end of success, there is failure and losses. At the end of not understanding, there is understanding. So we have to allow ourselves to not understand before we can understand. Right? You don't understand. Some people, they don't understand for a moment, and then they run on a treadmill of confusion and complicatedness. They exhaust themselves and, they just stay with not understanding. So at the end of not understanding, if you can penetrate or be mindful of each and every moment by moment mental, physical, or verbal action, instead of just adding things on and identifying someone, something, some place, some story. At the end of not understanding, there is understanding. And at the end of understanding, there is not understanding. At the end of wrong understanding, there is right understanding. At the end of right understanding, there is wrong understanding. We should try to use both opposite situations to be using only, without grasping or attaching in the mind. This is the middle way to get enlightenment. Okay? So here's the emphasis point. We should try to use both opposite situations, gaining, losing, being high, being low, being happy, being depressed, being good, being bad, getting what you want, getting what you don't want. We should try to use both opposite situations to be using only, experiencing only, mindful only, aware only, not someone, not something, not some situation, not da-da-da-da-da, building all these things on top of the experience. We should try to use both opposite situations of pain or pleasure, understanding or not understanding, to be using only, without grasping or attaching. Okay, without wrapping around or being stuck to in the mind. This is the middle way to get enlightenment. We should continue practicing meditation or mindfulness and detachment, whether we are able to be mindful, detached, or not. Simple. We should continue practicing meditation or mindfulness and detachment, whether we are able to be mindful, detached, or not. Period. The action of mindfulness and detachment is necessary at every present moment. Da, 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 da. And that's not even coming close to it. Getting success in every action of mindfulness and detachment or not is not important. Getting success in every action of mindfulness and detachment or not is not important. Okay? Having a good meditation is not important. Practice makes perfect. Well, here, getting success in every action of mindfulness and detachment or not is not important. The success and the failure, that's not the important point. Practice makes perfect. The action of mindfulness itself makes perfect, not the success or the failure in that action of mindfulness and detachment. We need to practice although we experience lots of difficulties and failures. Practice what? Mindfulness and detachment. Present moment awareness, uninvolved, uncontrived, uncomplicated. Stepping back from someone, someplace, something, success, failure, opposites. Penetrate into just experiencing, just being aware, experiencing only, using only, mindful only of whatever it is, the light or the dark. So we should continue practicing meditation or mindfulness and detachment, whether we are able to be mindful, detached, or not. The action of mindfulness and detachment is necessary at every present moment. Getting success in every action of mindfulness and detachment or not is not important. Practice makes perfect. We need to practice although we experience lots of difficulties and failures. That's what we need to do. We need to practice. We need to be mindful. This isn't telling you how to live your life. It's not telling you that you can't eat cake. It's not telling you to be vegetarian. It's not telling you to be skinny or fat. It's not telling you to be good or bad. It's not telling you to develop on your self-improvement lifestyle or not. It's telling you to practice mindfulness and detachment, present moment awareness at every moment, and to detach, to step back, to just be aware, more and more clearly aware, 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 only, not with someone, something, someplace, sometime, etc. Just aware. We need to practice although we experience lots of difficulties and failures. If we cannot endure difficulties and failures, we cannot practice. So to endure, to face, to be with, to use difficulty and failure, to experience it. If we cannot practice, we cannot get success and be perfect in our practice. Okay? So this was Sayadaw's recent talk he gave for our retreat. And at this time, we can open the space for question, answer, sharing experience, and always to be mindful as much as we can. It's all about engaging. It's the practice. It's the present moment action of mindfulness. You have to be engaged. You have to have effort. You have to have a willingness to step forward to practice mindfulness and detachment. It's not passive. It's active. To endure, to face, to be with. The more you are mindful, the more you understand about the truth of the body and the mind, the more that your practice will become your life. You are less and less concerned with mental phenomena, physical phenomena, and more concerned with the truth or reality or freedom. We will live according to what is really important to us, what's really essential to us. So if making money is really essential to us, then we will move to a place where there is a job or a great opportunity to make money, and we understand that that's how you go. But it's not about making money, it's about where you're putting value and where you're putting your intention, and then you change your life according to that, where you understand the real value is. So as we become more serious about this practice of being mindful, of being concerned with the truth, we will also correspondingly change where we live, what our direction in life is. We will change the people that we are in relationship with. We will change how we live our lives in all kinds of ways, but not because of someone or something in particular, but because we are turning more and more towards the truth. From the Buddhist side, this will mean that you concern yourself more and more with actions of generosity. You concern yourself more and more with following precept or living an ethical life, living a virtuous life, and that goes together directly with being mindful. If you are really considering to live a virtuous life, what that means is that you are concerned with how your moment by moment verbal, mental, and physical actions can cause a suffering, isn't it? So in that situation, you are more and more mindful, more and more aware, and you will prioritize to be more careful, more skillful naturally. But Buddhism offers an approach that is practical for anyone. And if we can get the swing of the present moment action of mindfulness, if we can get the swing of the truth of not someone, the truth of non-self, then we can start to use the power of the right understanding. And this can increase our faith. This can increase our energy to practice doing things that might seem a little bit mundane, right? So putting 5 precepts on your wall: don't kill, don't steal, don't lie or speak harshly, don't commit sexual misconduct, don't take drugs or intoxicants. This might seem mundane, even worldly, but you can use it. It's something to be used, to be more mindful, to detach more and more. And to be detached is to be free. If you desire cake, you are trapped by cake. If you fear dogs, you are trapped by dogs. The more that we can detach from the body and mind through mindfulness of the present moment actions that we take, the more free we will be, and naturally we will want to live our lives in a particular way, which is not the normal life of the people in the society, but it is a viable life. It is a worthwhile life. And it's simple. It's not about complicated philosophy. It's not about a complicated lifestyle. It's decomplicating your philosophy and lifestyle. It's being mindful. It's stopping everything that you do. Just like at the beginning, right? We should try to stop whatever we do. Each of our physical, verbal, and mental action need to be mindful now. Whatever we are able to do, okay, so now we've got the potential to drink or to smoke or to do this or do that, etc. Whatever we are able to do, need to stop or abandon or let go. You need to exercise your freedom. It's not saying that you reject it. It's not saying that you don't do this or you don't go there. But whatever we are able to do, need to stop or abandon or let go. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to go anywhere. It's important. And you certainly don't need to be successful in your spiritual practice or mindset. You need to practice. You need to be mindful. Again and again and again and again and again. Just like you eat again and again and again and again. Only this is to do good deeds, to be skillful constantly, moment by moment. And it's difficult. But the results or the benefits are really great. To step into freedom rather than to step into unsatisfactory attachment to mental, physical, or verbal action. Step into freedom. Step into the present moment action of mindfulness. You go to the toilet, you take a bath, you take a shower, you go for a walk, you wake up, you make a mistake, you eat too much, you eat too little, you have too much coffee, you drink too much wine. Whatever it is, present moment action of mindfulness. And then you slowly but surely adjust, adjust, adjust. The present moment action of mindfulness is not about someone or some place or something, and yet it is accessible. The more that you step into it, The more that you emphasize it, the more your understanding will grow, right? Your capacity to be aligned with the truth, not someone. It's just like a sword. Who does a sword discriminate against? No one. The sword is the sword of non-discrimination, non-picking and choosing. The sword takes someone's and makes them not someone's, easily, quickly. And now, I guess, a gun. Because this depiction of a sword as wisdom, right, it can take life. It ends, it finishes. Bang, 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 hands up, open fire. Mindful, 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 continuously. The more we are detached, the more that it's not that you won't get sick or you won't fall and break your back or have eye problems or whatever. It's that your heart is primed to open. Freedom is knocking at your window. Not complicatedness, not someone, not something, not your ignorance and attachment, but mindfulness and detachment are knocking at your window because you are emphasizing more and more, as much as you can, the present moment action of mindfulness and detachment. So the mind changes and the body changes and your life changes quickly. This is the quickest way to change your life. And as you are changing your life, your mind will change. And what we're really working towards here, some dimension of it, is not different from what a normal person or normal people can appreciate. So a normal person or normal people, they can appreciate, oh, the sunset, the ocean, the feeling of the wind, the smell, the natural mind, natural situation, right? We can all appreciate it. But we are exploiting that possibility to appreciate freedom, to become freedom. We are exploiting that capacity to appreciate the sunset or the sunrise, to become the sunset, to become the sunrise. And that is the sunset and the sunrise of embracing, of holding, of taking care, of being mindful, of transforming, of refreshing, of restarting, of mindfulness and detachment. The truth of ever new impermanent nature, which is not controlled by created truths. It's not controlled by the body. It's not controlled by the mind. It's not even controlled by gravity or logic. It's not controlled by desire or fear. It's not controlled by complicated thinking. And it's you, it's us, it's nature, it's the truth. So we go from someone who suffers a lot and is completely ignorant and attached to someone who hears about the truth. Then we become someone who is developing their relationship with the truth and all of the joy and deepening and opening that goes along with that. Then we become the truth, or we become carriers of the truth, carriers of the light, lamp holders, dharma holders. And we take on this ultimate responsibility for wisdom and compassion. Hold the sword and the flower. But it's not someone, it's cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. It's the present moment action of mindfulness continuously. Because we are already not separate from it. It's just truth all the way down. all the appearances of solidity, all the phenomena that are someone, something, positive, negative, all the opposites are just ever new impermanent nature, flowing and showing and shining and blooming in different ways. And in that using only, in that experiencing only, in that seeing only, hearing only, breathing only, you nourish the practice of mindfulness and detachment. Not just for yourself, but also for the others. If we didn't have community, where would we be? What would this be? This is community. This is our experience. This is our Sangha. Where would the Buddha be if no one were willing to put food in his bowl? That's it. So that community power, working together, cooperating, collaborating, it's not just a symptom of, oh, well, I guess we've got to do it this way. No, it's a joy. It's a power. It's a reactor that we need to learn how to harness the energy of in all kinds of different ways to do all kinds of good deeds. When we live our normal life, we are practicing mindfulness and detachment for ourselves, or we are practicing it while doing many actions for ourselves. But we can change that to use this body and mind for the others, for all. If we work together, we can not only solve our own problem, but we can also help to solve the others' problems. When these issues or problems come up, it doesn't matter what they are, who they are, or past and future, or a big problem or little problem. Don't be confused. Be mindful. Watch over each and every moment, action, mental, physical, verbal. Embrace, face, penetrate. Our capacity to embrace the pain is also our capacity to embrace the joy and the freedom. It's our capacity to be mindful and detached. So the difficulties are advantageous for us. Advantageous, but not to be relied on, not to be attached to, not to be seen as related to someone in particular. You are not someone in particular. We need to be like a weeble. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. We go to the left, we go to the right. Life happens, somebody happens, something happens, some place happens, whatever. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. A little bit too much to the left, a little bit too much to the right. Coming back to center, coming back to the present moment action of mindfulness. You get drunk, so what? You get high, so what? Come back to the present moment action of mindfulness. Now don't be flippant. One night of drinking can change your whole situation for a long time. And this is a rare opportunity to come in contact with the teachings and have a chance to change our life and to go on the right path. The action of mindfulness and detachment is necessary at every present moment, branded into the brain. Getting success in every action of mindfulness and detachment or not is not important. Practice makes perfect. Keep practicing, keep showing up, keep applying it, keep coming back to center. Keep coming back to the present moment action of mindfulness. This is kindness and generosity. It's like having a child. Okay, children are good teachers. You have a child. I get to be kind of like a munkle, an Uncle Monk, and once those children start to get out of control, somebody else take care of them. But even that, even a few moments of trying to raise a child or be there for them or take care of them, be in a parental mind, very difficult, isn't it? Takes a lot of energy. It doesn't matter. Those children need that care. They need that attention. They need that mindfulness. This body and mind, this situation we find ourselves in, doesn't matter. You get sick, you make a mistake, you get anxious, you're depressed, you're good, you're bad, you're right, you're wrong, you're broke, whatever. Doesn't matter. You need to be mindful again and again and again to show up, because there's a child inside you too, and that child always needs you. And that child is innocent and open-hearted and minded. So if you're depressed and laying in bed watching movies or something, that child is okay to be there with you, but you've got to be mindful. And that can't just be your diet or your way of life. You got to scoot your boot, go for a walk, go to the park, get moving, do some good deeds, to volunteer, share, help. Brainstorm, cooperate, collaborate, get out there, get involved. But if that action of mindfulness becomes stronger and you become more detached about, this temporary feeling in the body or this temporary feeling in the mind, and not taking it to be someone who's depressed or anxious or, is this in this story or that story, many opportunities open. The 10 directions reveal themselves. And you have the choice how to step forward. And of course, you will choose the choice that is most lovely and fresh, contemplative and freeing and opening. We should be compassionate for sure and gentle and open, but we should not be complacent. And whatever we're doing, whatever the state or the situation is, we should be mindful. We should bring that layer, that action of mindfulness to it. Mindful of what? Mental, physical, verbal actions. Aware of verbal capacity, aware of mental capacity, aware of physical capacity. It will take time, but step by step, we will be successful. Not just for ourselves, but for our group, for our community, for our loved ones, for the people we don't care about so much or don't know so much, and also even for those we don't like. We will be successful for them as well. Okay, anyone want to share or ask a question before we continue practicing the present moment action of mindfulness without limitations? Our questions and our sharing can also be actions of generosity, so don't limit yourself.
So, and that's the most important thing you can do. But sometimes, like my girlfriend, I'll see that she's struggling a lot with something that I've noticed mindfully, like you can way more easily like navigate and deal with, and it's not a big problem. But I feel like I can't just enforce her to be mindful and just tell her like, oh, you just have to be mindful because then, well, I'm not sure, but it doesn't feel right. How so in that situation is it more important for you yourself to be mindful and to be like a supportive person for them, like instead of trying to get them to be mindful?
For sure. You offer your mindfulness, you offer your presence, you offer your heart, you offer your body and mind as a generosity, as a caretaker, right, to your beloved one. And, there's a lot of power in that. You set the example not by what you say or what you explain, but how you practice at that moment, especially when they
Right.
are in emotional distress. You probably just need to offer them the mindfulness, the deep listening, the presence. Right? Someone just said how to stay in silence even when others scream. Empower your mindfulness, deepen it, open it, widen it out. Right? Be ready to be mindful of all kinds of sounds, experiences, feelings. Because these are the training grounds. These are the opening grounds. These are the refreshing and restarting grounds. It's not about being successful or not in it, but it's about emphasizing more and more the present moment action of mindfulness.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Mindful listening or listening from the heart or compassionate listening, right? This is one of the greatest gifts that we can offer to each other. Just listening deeply. Yeah, go ahead, Sonia.
In the same way as the previous question, if we are present for a friend and that friend we are giving, as you said, listening, presence, opening, and he said things that we know making suffering, like attachment to very horrible thing that happened and repeating things like that, and you know it's not good for that person. You can give some advice at that moment, or you just have to listen again and again and again if it's for 4 years.
Well, a part of being mindful is we learn that it's not satisfactory. So your friend is not satisfactory. You know who's satisfactory? An enlightened person, right? Someone who's very enlightened or more enlightened than we are. That's a satisfactory person. And the more you practice seriously, the less people are going to be in that situation for you. So you're going to be aware of the unsatisfactoriness of others. And then how we interact with them is going to change. That we take the role of a caretaker, or more like a parental mind. We take on the responsibility of a parental mind. So we don't, we might love, if we're a parent, we might love our children, and they might even be quite mature. Doesn't mean we sit down and have beers with them, right? And kind of shoot the crap. It's a there, and now there's different levels. There's different ways that we can interact with all kinds of people, but it's that mindset that's at the core of it. That parental mind, that caretaker mind, that really more than being this person's friend, you're taking a particular role or responsibility.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I think that I'm sending him even love when I meditate, really. And I tried everything, not to speak, not giving advice, but this person is so much in suffering, so much that even if it's not good for me, I cannot just leave him. It's impossible because so I wonder, just continuing what I can, right? That's what I can do.
How about this person? What is their problem?
Oh, he lost a very great job of teaching art, and just 1 year before he was going to his how you say that in English, pension, when you finish all, like 64 years old or 65, and he lost his job, and he lost his girlfriend that he loved the most of all his life, and he had so many things, like traumatic, completely traumatic, and the amount that he was supposed to have from that teaching of art was very high. And then because he lost his job for something he did, because he was ill also with bipolar things, and because he was bipolar, he did something, and hierarchically, in the hierarchically, we cannot do that. It was not so bad, but they they kick him, and very badly, very not ethically, and giving not any care, even if he was in depression for 1 year. So it was awful, and I understand the traumatic so much. I'm That's why I'm there all the time. It's just that it's so hard for me also, because I had my traumatized, big traumatized, and I'm a survivor. So it's so difficult for me to be more than even no one was with me. Even when I was in big depression, like 6 years ago, because I had the depression for maybe 7 years, a big depression. And even him abandoned me.
Yeah.
I don't do that, but I don't understand things like, yeah, it's
So then it's a good way for you to stay motivated and to stay practicing and stay on the edge of your seat. But you shouldn't unnecessarily indulge in the complicated thinking or the stories about it. So you can be a stopgap. You can encourage about detachment because you have some experience, right? So you can be, because you are so involved with this person and regularly showing up for them as a friend, then you also have there is some space there where you can be a little bit stronger. And, you can share with them, this is my understanding. And you can talk to them a little bit about the deeper teachings as you know it and try to help them more directly. Because a therapeutic helping is okay, and the deep listening especially is okay. But if we have some experience with the teachings and with the practice, we can also emphasize that. It may seem abnormal because for the West, this is a new teaching for us in our society for the most part, and it's not usual for us to have people teaching it or explaining it. So we may feel a little bit uncertain, and the person receiving that advice or encouragement may also feel uncertain. But this is a real way that we can help the others and try to help the others more, not just by being the friend, but also by being the teacher.
I'm doing this a lot, and sometimes I release because there's so many resistance. It's like, okay, no problem. He's a musician, he's multi-talented and creator, but so because he knows so many things, he think he know everything because he's like a genius, like 8 instrument, doing instrument, drawing. So that's very difficult to even if I say something that he have already done everything. So he have the knownless, the yeah, he knows everything. But it's in a certain part it's true. But I say to him sometimes, I know you know, but try to apply. It's not, yeah. So I will try again. Maybe I'm not mindfulness enough to be listening by him because he's
Well,
resisting everything.
you can make it a little bit more exploratory. Take him on a walk. Take him to visit a Buddhist temple. Take him outside of his element and just let him soak in that reality of being, not really fully understanding. And then there may be more opening for you to share about it, right? Take him to a Buddhist temple or
Yeah, I
something
walk
like
in
that.
the forest, walk. I do a lot of little thing like that because he resists too much to the teaching, so I cannot bring him to a temple. But I doing another way by walking in the, yeah. I'm asking a lot to go to take walk, but he's so bad in shape that even sometimes he's starting his day by crying for hours. Like
Yeah,
I
so
will just,
be brave and be a good friend and keep hammering on him, right? Keep on top of him and just watch out that you're also being detached. I mean, the nature of his body and mind are not satisfactory. Not someone in particular. It's like where are we all going to end up? Well, on an autopsy table. And an autopsy table is not, it's not where we are now. And, it's not that we're going to put a human being on an autopsy table, but that's the nature of our body. Actually, they're just opening it up. They're just taking a look. So if you see something like an autopsy, you're just seeing the nature of the body, right? And that clearly is not satisfactory. It's not someone in particular. It's not to be grasped or held onto too tightly. So use your friend for doing good deeds only, doing only, experiencing only, mindful only. And it can be helpful that you're seeing this person and you know that you're not in that situation anymore. And you see the unsatisfactoriness of that body and that mind, that way of thinking, that way of being. So it can be quite enlightening. So of course, I'm happy for him. He's got a friend like you. So keep being a good friend, but use it for your mindfulness and detachment, not for self-involvement.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. The life that we are living can be very, very confusing and unstable. And even though we think that it is stable, or we think that it's not confusing, what are we relying on? What's our foundation that we're speaking from? What are we involved with? What are we attached to? Well, Sonia, I think you've probably got a very nice home, right? I always see your home in the background. You've got a cat. It's very lovely and seems not like a nice place, right? So also, even to take it to another step, we're all attached to our bodies. Where would you be without your body, right? So this body is unstable. This body is unreliable. This body cannot be grasped as something permanent, you know? So we should emphasize in the midst of the confusion or the simplicity, in the midst of the understanding or the not understanding, we should emphasize the present moment action of mindfulness, of using only, of experiencing only, without any extra steps or stories or ideas or any grasping, any clinging. Nothing is to be used only and experienced only. Everything is to be used only and experienced only. So it's the action of mindfulness in the moment, of body and mind, mental or physical phenomena, name or form, just mindful, directly. Okay, Kane says, maybe you can speak, Kane. You can ask your question, maybe say a little bit more about it with your microphone. So bowing is an interesting topic for sure. On one side, if you are living in a kingdom and you go to see the emperor, you are not the emperor, and the emperor is very powerful. The emperor is ideally and maybe idealistically, the emperor is wise and powerful and dangerous in a certain sense, but also benevolent, also helpful or compassionate, but they're in charge. So when you go to see someone who is in charge, you pay respect to them because of their power, because of their authority, because of their capacity for force, we would say, right? It's like if you were in a traditional hunter-gatherer tribe, right? If we were some kind of how many people do we have in here? If we were some kind of 15-person hunter-gatherer tribe, and let's say that Ty was our our alpha, leading us in hunting mammoths and wandering around and these kinds of things, right? So we would pay respect to Thai because of their capacity to meet our needs, right? And that respect would be, I don't know, maybe some tribe would develop some kind of bowing, but it would be something of showing respect, all right? In Buddhism, we have that side, right? So in the Buddhist country in Thailand or Myanmar or Sri Lanka, a monk is a monk, and if you're not a monk, you're not a monk, and there's no wiggle room. And monks are wise and virtuous and meditative and powerful, and we pay respect to them 100%. Now, a part of this dynamic is more leaning towards the like virtue. So a monk shouldn't be a threat. Their power shouldn't be like a threat or something, but their virtue, their meditation, their wisdom as having a lot of importance in the group. And so you pay respect to the monk, right? You bow to the monk. But on the other hand, the monk does not bow to the normal person. So this is like an emperor. You go to see the emperor, they're not going to bow to you, right? And so that exists in Sri Lanka, in Thailand, in Myanmar. I remember for myself, when I first started living in Thailand, I went there to ordain and become a monk. So when I first was staying there, I loved bowing to people. And the Thai people were quite friendly to me and kind of happy to me to see me bowing to people that I would meet, because it's a part of their culture. But once I became a monk, once I became ordained, it was completely inappropriate for me to bow to people who weren't monks, right? Even in Myanmar, it's the same, but in Myanmar, you shouldn't even bow to female monks, to nuns, because they only follow 10 precept. They're not the full bhikkhunis. They're just a nun. So, these political or social dynamics exist, and they're a big part of Buddhism and monastic life. On the other hand, you have maybe taken on Han tradition or any progressive Western tradition where, or progressive tradition where we bow to each other because we're bowing to our mutual capacity to awaken, our mutual respect for being on the path, our support for one another to continue on the path. And also that Buddha, right? Because the Buddha was selfless. The Buddha was free. So when we bow, we can put our ego down. We can put our self down, and we just the bowing. In the bowing, just the bowing. The Buddha in me bows to the Buddha in you. Now, I can be a little bit pulled in between two worlds because there's a standard in Theravada Buddhism, which is where I ordained, and then there's a standard on progressive side or maybe more humanistic side. But the reality is, in bowing, just bow. In not bowing, just don't bow. Right? I'm not Bow Wow. I'm not here to rap. We're here to practice the present moment action of mindfulness as much as we can. And everything else will work that out along the way. Okay? But bowing can really be a joy and can be a gift that we give to ourselves as well as the community. Welcome. Buddhism and monastic life and the role of a Western monk in a progressive community such as ours here is not fleshed out, not hashed out. It's not clear what forms we will use or how we will move forward. But if we can emphasize the real teachings and the real practice, then the path forward will be strewn with flowers and jewels of our success, of mindfulness and detachment, of generosity and virtue. So we don't need to worry about it too much. Just step by step, and slowly but surely, we develop different forms, different ways of approaching the different situations that come up. With whatever situation comes up, whatever person, whatever place, whatever period of time, experiencing only is there, using only is there, doing only is there. The action of mindfulness is there.
sorrow, and sometimes
Yeah, Clear Mountain Monastery. There's just a few temples, a few groups in the West that are doing um, a Sangha building or community building that is emphasizing the monastic life, but also community and being open. So I have, from my side, I have a lot of support from Western people, right? Whatever ways they're supporting me by being a part of this community, part of our practice group, by donating, by volunteering. I have a lot of support and a lot of interest from a Western side or a non-Asianic Buddhist side, right? And I also have naturally many supports from Vietnamese Buddhists, from Myanmar Buddhists, Thai Buddhists, Sri Lankan Buddhists, etc., that are also supporting me in different ways. So these two sides coming together and me being supported by both of them and wanting to open more and more community of practice and spaces like this to be happening online regularly, informed by the Buddha's teachings and bringing in real practitioners and other monks is an experiment in progress. but the foundation is solid, so we just keep practicing. We're used to being, for our impatience, being rewarded, right? So we are very impatient, so Amazon exists, and they're the number one country in the world. 2-day delivery, same-day delivery. But in changing our mind, in changing our life, in building Sangha, building community, we have to go step by step and be patient and keep showing up and keep knowing about each other through our practice. The more that each one of us as individuals takes responsibility for our practice being robust and virtuous and deep and meaningful and contemplative, healthy and wealthy, the more capacity we will have to work together and develop our Sangha here. It's strange because on Discord or in modern kind of Western spaces or any modern spaces, community building is about clicks and likes and subscriptions and kind of everyone saying, hey, yeah, we like a similar thing, so let's like that similar thing and talk nonsense together. Whereas this is something very different. This is Sangha building. This is community building. We want to make this space as healthy and wealthy as we can to help the others, to invite more people, to create meditation center, eventually have physical space. A lot of different things like that are normal, not too difficult, just a matter of time. And this is because we are primarily concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So there is a background of stability, solidity, and clarity that is supporting our group here, that other groups may not have. Yeah, at a certain point, we may consider that, we want to have a Monk-Life Meditation Center in America or Canada, someplace in the West. And we should understand that that is a natural development. Not concerned with me in particular, but concerned with the Sangha. how to stay still, but you want to go here and there, probably go for a walk. Go for a good walk. It's like a dog that's bouncing off the walls, barking, making noise, getting into things, getting into the cupboards. That dog probably isn't going for enough walks. A lot of times it's that simple. And to walk with mindfulness. Young, old, fast, slow, overweight, underweight, strong or weak, doesn't matter. In walking, just walking. In breathing, just breathing. In seeing, just seeing. We are one of the more successful online Dharma group. Which means we have more responsibility, not just for ourselves, but also for the other members and the broader community. So take that on. For me, I am really fortunate because I have to put on these robes every day. I am in the Buddhist temple every day. I'm surrounded by the community group. So I know, or I remember again and again and again that I'm a part of the community. I'm not just doing for myself. I'm not just responsible for myself, but I'm responsible for the community. Not just in terms of what I do or what I don't do. Okay, Christina. But also how I carry myself moment by moment to be mindful, and how that can affect what others do as well. Okay, anyone else to have a question or would like to share something?
Can I just speak?
Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
I was wondering if we could go back to talking about attachment to the body, especially trying to observe it when the body's in pain. Because I think that's when, at least I realize how attached to the body we can be. Because I think often when we talk about attachment, always like let go, or in a sort of way throw away whatever object we're trying to detach from. But with the body, um, especially when still in pain, it's not that dichotomous where I'm just gonna throw the body to the side right now. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's right. Eat the pain. The more you can be mindful of the pain, the more you will be detached from it. Pain is just as unsatisfactory as pleasure is. Pain is not more or less unsatisfactory than pleasure is. We just like pleasure and we don't like pain. Well, so what? That doesn't mean anything. I like this and I don't like that. It's not that important what you like or what you don't like. What is important is the present moment action of mindfulness. And that is very inclusive of pain. It's also inclusive of boredom. It's also inclusive of pleasure or gain and loss, or being on a high note or being on a low note. Just emphasize the present moment action of mindfulness. And to endure, to grit your teeth and face that pain, there's nothing wrong with that. It can be really good when you have the right context, when you're doing it as an act of mindfulness, of facing, of being with, of enduring. When it gets to the point of you punishing yourself or being in a fight with yourself rather than emphasizing the present moment action of mindfulness, then you can back off a little bit. You can change your position or reorient your mindset. But to feel that pain, to be mindful of it, to face it, is really helpful. And this is how we actually get into deeper levels of meditation, is through the pain. Now, you don't need to go looking for pain. That's not what meditation is about. But being able to be natural with pain, being able to be natural with that quality of difficulty, because it is difficult. This body and mind is difficult. It doesn't mean we can't be mindful of it fully, again and again. Okay, so let's finish with sharing the merit, and everyone's invited to unmute their microphone and repeat after me as we share the merit of our practice. Where did 2 hours go? Where did they come from? Here and now. Let's share the merit. Let's be mindful. Okay? May all the merits that I have done till now
May all the merits I have done till now
be dedicated and shared out
be dedicated and shared out
Dedicated and shared out
toward all sentient beings.
toward
towards
all
all
sentient beings.
sentient beings.
May all sentient beings
May
May
all
all
sentient
sentient beings
beings
rejoice and share in our merits.
rejoice and share in our merits.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, dear friends, be well on the path, be mindful, don't overthink it. See you later.